Once upon a time, in a magnificent palace surrounded by dazzling gardens, lived the wisest king ever known, King Suleiman bin Daud. He was no ordinary king. He could understand the language of animals, the whispers of trees, and even the secrets of the rocks deep underground. Alongside him was his queen, the stunningly beautiful Balkis, almost as wise as the king himself. King Suleiman bin Daud wore a magical ring. When he twisted it once, genies and spirits appeared to grant his wishes. When he twisted it twice, fairies descended from the skies to help him. And thrice, the mighty angel Azrael would arrive, bringing news from all corners of the world, but the king was humble. He rarely showed off his powers. One day, he tried to impress everyone by preparing a feast for all the animals, but a giant creature from the sea gobbled it up in just 3 bites. This made King Suleiman realize that showing off wasn't wise. Now, King Suleiman had a lot of wives, 999 to be precise. They often quarreled and made life quite stressful for him. But Queen Balkis, his most beloved, never argued with him. She would stroll through the palace gardens, feeling sorry that the king was so troubled. One day, after a particularly loud quarrel among the wives, King Suleiman went to the garden to find some peace. There he met Queen Balkis, who suggested he use his magic ring to teach the quarrelsome wives a lesson. But the king remembered the lesson from the sea creature and decided not to show off his powers. While wandering the garden, the king overheard 2 butterflies quarreling. One of them boasted to his wife that he could make the king's palace disappear with a stamp of his foot. King Suleiman chuckled at this tiny creature's big talk and invited him over. The butterfly, shaking with fear, flew to the king's hand. The king whispered that he knew the butterfly's claim was just a tall tale. The butterfly confessed that he only said it to calm his wife during their quarrel. Meanwhile, Queen Balkis had a clever plan. She whispered to the butterfly's wife to challenge her husband to actually stamp his foot and see what happens. The butterfly's wife did just that, and the butterfly, worried about being laughed at, flew back to the king, pleading for help. King Suleiman, amused and touched by the butterfly's predicament, decided to help. He turned his magic ring, summoning 4 mighty genies. He commanded that when the butterfly stamped his foot, the palace and gardens would vanish, and when he stamped again, everything would return. The butterfly flew back to his wife, who was now insisting he stamp his foot. With a little stomp, the palace and gardens disappeared. The butterfly's wife was terrified and begged for everything to be brought back. The butterfly, a bit proud of his apparent magic, stamped again, and everything returned to normal. The king laughed heartily at the butterfly's trick, but the commotion scared the 999 queens, who came rushing out, afraid that something terrible had happened. Queen Balkis calmly explained that it was all due to a butterfly teaching his wife a lesson in humility. The queens were amazed and a bit embarrassed by their foolishness. They tiptoed back into the palace, much quieter than before. And King Suleiman, grateful for the peace and cleverness of his beloved Queen Balkis, realized the power of wisdom and love. From that day on, the king and queen enjoyed peaceful strolls in their gardens, often chatting with the butterflies, who had become their friends. And the palace was filled with laughter and joy, all thanks to a wise king, a clever queen, and a little butterfly with a big imagination. And that's the story of how King Suleiman and Queen Balkis learned that wisdom and love are the greatest powers of all.